In this video, we are going to discuss basic concepts about the descriptive study designs. And first of all, we have to understand that what is meant by a descriptive study is the study in which is designed to describe the distribution of one or more variables without regard to any causal or their hypothesis. In other words, descriptive study can be of several types, namely case reports, case series, cross-sectional studies, and ecological or correlation studies. The first three of these, we can observe that data are collected about individuals, whereas in the last one, we use aggregated data for groups of individuals. These studies are concerned with observing the disease distribution or health-related events and events that seem to be associated with the disease among the human population. Such studies are carried out to find answers for questions like when is the disease occurring? In other words, what is the time distribution of the disease? And here, the study described the time of the appearance of cases and when they appear, when they were first diagnosed. And our question, which we are trying to find through time distribution, is to find trends of the disease occurrence over time. For example, we can see whether the trend of the disease of, for example, typhoid fever is declining or rising during the last 10 years in Sudan. Where is the disease occurring? And this is the place distribution. And here, the descriptive studies focus on geographical distribution of the disease, which geographical areas are most affected, and what are the borders of such areas. And this will give us an opinion about the geographical distribution of the disease and where we can develop our interventions. Who is affected by the disease? And this is the person distribution, how people are affected with the disease. And here we can talk about the modes of disease transmission, whether it is by direct contact or through fecal oral route or whatever it is. And then now we will describe the essential steps of the descriptive studies. The first step is that we need to define the disease under the study. Then this is the initial step of the study, and the researcher here is intending to describe the disease occurrence and measure its frequency among the study population. Thus, it is logical to stand the standard case definition of the disease, and this is very important. Which cases are you going to include? In other words, the inclusion criteria and the exclusion criteria. This needs to be specified as the initial step of the descriptive study. If the researcher, for example, is intending to study a biological pattern of urinary among school children in certain village, then the standard case definition to be included will be the school child with Schistoma hematobium in urine, as is proved in a urine specimen examined by the standard laboratory technique for detection of the soma hematobium. Without such a case definition, then the researcher may include cases with other causes, for example, of hematuria or blood in urine, and the results of the research would be questionable, as so many cases which are not typical of the standard case definition are included in the study. Then the next step is to define the population under the study. And here, the definition of population is important, is needed to measure the frequency of occurrence of the disease. As with population under the study, the population under the study is the denominator for measuring the frequency of occurrence of the disease among the study population. It is meaningless to identify the number of cases without identifying the population at risk of capturing the disease. This is meaningless because we don't know how the frequency is being measured. So we need to have both the numerator and the denominator. Then we need to describe the disease by time, person, and place. And these are the parameters indicating the distribution of the disease among human population geographically, demographically, and time-wise as well. The third step is measurement of the disease, and the frequency of occurrence of the disease can be measured based on identifying the number of cases that are tallying with the standard case definition that we have already specified, and the number of the population at risk. And then the researcher, here the researcher did not attempt to find any sort of relationship or association between the variables, just to measure, for example, the prevalence of unestimated among school children, and that's all. I mean, and the researcher is not attempting to find any sort of association, for example, between the prevalence of unestimated and gender, for example. Descriptive study design do not have hypotheses to be tested, but can generate hypotheses that can be tested by analytical study designs, such as cohort study designs and case control study design. Now we come to the use of descriptive study designs. It can be used to describe the mortality and morbidity of the disease, for example, the mortality of tuberculosis and the morbidity as well. You can use the descriptive study to generate hypotheses that can be tested by analytical study designs, and to provide, for example, descriptive study designs can provide data for planning, for monitoring and evaluation of the health services and programs. For example, if we want to develop a program of control of medicine, then we need the information that will facilitate for us the overall planning process and what sort of interventions are needed in such a program, for example. And lastly, the descriptive study design contribute to research. Thank you very much.